Hey guys, welcome back to another video. We are back with the MCU Rewatch review. Today we're going to be talking about Avengers Infinity War. So yeah, we're back today with MCU Rewatch review. This is, I think, episode 16. Don't quote me on that. Whatever's in the title, this is that episode. And we're pretty far into the MCU now. We have like 4 movies left. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Captain Marvel, Endgame, and then Spider-Man Far From Home, and that's it. With that being said, Avengers Infinity War is my favorite MCU movie. I think it is absolutely perfect, as the title of the video says and the thumbnail. But I'll be doing a full MCU ranking of every single movie after I finish rewatching all of them, so expect that after this series is over. Nevertheless, I want to get right into it talking about Avengers Infinity War. Again, this is probably the best Marvel movie in my opinion. It's just perfect, really, and I think the main reason for this is because it doesn't feel like a movie where the villain is pushed on the side, and the main reason for that is because it's really just a Thanos solo movie. Let's be honest, it's more of a Thanos solo movie than it is an Avengers movie. Now, a lot of people complain that, oh, it's more of a Thanos movie. That's the part that people don't like. People don't like the part that Captain America and Iron Man are split off and they're not together the entire time, but it still feels like an Avengers movie to me. It just feels like Thanos is at the forefront. It feels like an Avengers movie where the villain is the antagonist, not necessarily the antagonist, but just the one in the forefront, the main one that we're following. And I think that's what makes the dual storyline thing so cool. I think that's why I like Captain America on one end and Iron Man on one end so much, is because the way that they're interconnected, the only really time that we see them is when they're with Thanos. But nevertheless, I want to talk about the beginning of the movie. I think the opening, like the part before the Marvel logo and the Avengers Infinity War logo, the part before that where Thanos basically kills Loki, kills Heimdall, and basically tortures Thor, gets the Tesseract, and he already has the Purple Stone, I think, the Power Stone. So he already has 2 stones, and that entire opening act or opening scene is the best opening in any superhero movie in my opinion. The Dark Knight one comes close. I think the Dark Knight one might be better, but I think this is a close second, and it's just so perfect in my opinion. It sets such a dark tone for this movie, and that's what I really like. I also think this is the best Marvel movie in terms of balancing comedy and I guess the darkness, because there's just so many different things going on, and I think it really works. It really balances comedic tones. I mean, obviously, you know, we have Star-Lord, Doctor Strange, Peter Parker, and Tony Stark on the screen at the same time. Obviously, they're going to be hilarious, but at the same time, there's still heartfelt moments within these characters. One example of this is the dialogue scene inside of the main ship whenever everyone meets for the first time. Star-Lord, Drax, Tony Stark, Spider-Man, Strange, and even when Thor meets the Guardians for the first time. All those scenes are just so well done, and also the way that they play everything out is just so great to me. The way also they bring everyone together in the first place. The way that they basically bring Hulk to Strange, Tony to Strange, and then in space we have Thor to the Guardians, and then in, I think it's like Germany, we have Captain America, Wanda, Vision, Black Widow, Falcon, and then in Wakanda we have Black Panther, Okoye, Shuri, Vision again. All these different characters just coming together, and the way that they bring everyone together is just so perfect in my opinion, and I don't think it could have been done any other way. I like the way that they introduce these connections, and you can see how they're gonna last a while. Obviously, they only last like this movie and then parts of the next movie, but overall I just think they did a great job of building these foundations between all the characters. But yeah, now I want to talk about just specific characters, because that's what I think is so good about this movie, is how good and how in-depth we get stories for these characters whilst it's still a big Avengers get-together movie. So the first 2 characters I want to talk about is obviously Iron Man and Captain America. Personally, Nomad Captain America is my favorite version of Captain America. I love the shield. I also love his dialogues in Wakanda and just the way all of that comes about. Nevertheless, I do think obviously Iron Man's a better character in this movie. Personally, I am team Captain America, but I still think Iron Man as a character in this movie was way better than Captain America, because number one, Captain America had way less screen time. Also, Iron Man was just more of a focus. It felt like a Thanos and Iron Man movie more than it did anything a Captain America movie. Nevertheless, Iron Man's story in this movie is just so great. I don't have much to say about it because it's just like really good. I mean, same thing with Thanos is they're just really at the forefront, and Iron Man doesn't necessarily have an arc in this movie per se, but he's still a very interesting character that has a lot of very different interesting connections. For example, his connection with Spider-Man, and then their banter, same thing against Star-Lord, same thing against Doctor Strange. And I think that's why Doctor Strange and Tony Stark are one of my favorite duos in the MCU. Obviously, they don't really get together, but just the way they work together, how they work besides their differences. Overall, I think one of the best things with Avengers Infinity War is the writing. It's just, again, so crazy how they bring 10 years of a franchise in together, and they just did it really well in my opinion. Another few characters that I really like is number one, Doctor Strange. Again, I think Doctor Strange is a phenomenal character. This movie made him one of my favorite MCU characters. He's my top 3 for sure, and this movie is what put him there at the time. I also think Wanda is great in this movie. Obviously, she's not in this movie a crazy amount, but she's still a great character. I love her dynamic with Vision when we first get introduced to them. I think it's in Germany, and then obviously her fight in the train station, that is so sick. There's just one fight where she's basically fighting one of the guards, and she's using her powers to basically lift up the sword, and she's basically like doing a bunch of different dodges. It's such a sick fight scene. That's one of my favorite fight scenes in the entire movie. Also, her like lifting up Vision and throwing him to the side and actually like healing him as she's fighting. All of that is super cool. I also love when they get to Wakanda and she has to take the Mind Stone out of Vision's head. That entire sequence is really cool. And then her witnessing Thanos basically reversing that and then him taking the stone for himself. All of that is just really, really well done in my opinion. And it really accelerates Wanda as a character. But now I want to head back kind of to the writing side of things. One of my favorite things about this movie is definitely the pacing, the way that they pace out all of these different storylines. In this movie, it's in essence 3 completely different storylines. It's the Thanos storyline, Iron Man storyline, and Captain America storyline. Obviously, the Iron Man storyline is a little bit more straightforward in my opinion. The Captain America storyline is slightly complex. You go back to Avengers HQ, then they go to Wakanda, and then the final battle and stuff like that. And the Thanos one obviously is the most layered one throughout this entire movie because it's telling an origin story of Thanos. Obviously, this all connects with the storytelling, and in essence, I just want to talk about the ending of this movie. The ending of this movie is perfect in my opinion. It would have been really cool to see if Thanos just snapped and then it went completely to a black screen and they didn't really do anything else. Like they didn't show him in the Soul Stone realm or whatever. They didn't show him on the farm. It's cool to see him on the farm though, because that's showing that Thanos is finally at peace. I think that's more of a representation of how he's feeling and how he's accomplished his goals and stuff like that. But at the same time, showing him in the Soul Stone world and showing him talking to baby Gamora and all that kind of stuff, that's all great because it shows that he knew what risk he took and he knew exactly what he did. It wasn't like he didn't fully understand his consequences. He fully understood what he was doing. And the reason the audience really knows that is because whenever he went to the Soul Stone world and saw Gamora, obviously he realized everything that he did. Same thing when he sat on the farm. So it would have been crazy to see if he just snapped and everything went away and it was just the credits directed by Joe and Anthony Russo. Nevertheless, that's all my thoughts on Avengers Infinity War. This is a perfect movie in my opinion, and I think it is, if not the best, one of the best MCU and Marvel movies. Let me know what you guys think of Avengers Infinity War in the comments down below. Next episode of MCU Rewatch is going to be Ant-Man and the Wasp. Then we have Captain Marvel, then Avengers Endgame, and then finally Spider-Man Far From Home. But yeah guys, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.